So the biggest thing you can do if you want to get more sales with print on demand is to understand what makes a t-shirt sell. And that's the basis behind our school community, the shirt heads. We teach you how to create t-shirt designs that get more sales. And in this video, I'm going to teach you the 3 different things that you'll need to get a good t-shirt design and get more sales. So let's break it down. When most people think about creating a good t-shirt design, they only think of one thing, and that is how the t-shirt design looks. But actually, there's 2 other things that you have to think about before that. And these are what I like to call the who, the why, and the what. So you can see this diagram right here. All of these 3, when they come together, the center of that, if you have all of these 3, that is actually what a good design is. It's not just the what and how it looks like on a t-shirt. It's actually who is it for, why are people buying it, and what does it look like. That what is the very last part. You have to do the first 2 parts first. So I'm going to go over these. This is what we do in the shirt heads. Kind of think about the customer and why they would want to buy it. So let's break it down even more. So you're going to want to stay to the end of this video, because after I break these 3 down, I'm going to show you what this looks like in real life. I'm going to do an actual example of going through all these steps and creating a brand new design with it. And you'll see how this is going to help in real life. So first, the who. So the who is knowing your audience. Who are they? What's their age or gender? What are their interests? What's their lifestyle like? What's their style preferences like? What kinds of things do they like to wear on their t-shirt? And what matters to them? So you have to get that audience first. Now, even if you're selling in the same niche, you can have multiple different audiences. So a person in the book niche, for example, could be a young 20-year-old that loves a certain type of book, or they could be an older person that's a guy that loves science fiction books. You see, those are totally 2 different audiences. So you're going to have to figure out, before you design anything, know your audience specifically so that your design caters to them. If you're just trying to make something super generic, it's going to be totally for everybody and not going to be for the person that you're trying to sell. So get more specific on your who. Make sure you can answer most of these questions here, and it's going to really help you kind of narrow down what you're going to design later, right? So who is very important. It is step 1 before you design anything. Step 2 is the why. Why would someone want to buy your shirt over everything else that's already out there if there is competition? Why does somebody, when scrolling through everything, sees your shirt and says, yes, that's the one I want? So this is your unique edge. Why should someone choose yours? What makes yours different? How would you stand out in a certain way? So when you do your research, don't just go and copy what other people are doing. You're going to have to make sure that when people are scrolling through the marketplace of Etsy or Amazon, or even if you only have a Shopify store, you still want yours to stand out, because people are going to get driven there through ads, and your ads will need to have designs that stand out. So this is something very important. You don't want to copy everybody that's out there. You want to be unique and original, and that's the way that you're going to win. Now, unique and original to the who, right? So the who is first, and now once you know the who, then you can kind of drive the why, the uniqueness that your who will actually like. Now, finally is the what. Before you do the what and just go and design something, make sure you do the who and the why. And now the what will actually be easier, because now you have a plan. You know who you're designing it for, and you kind of know the things that you can avoid because other people are already doing it, and other things that you want to try out because they're unique and nobody has done it. So have some strong design fundamentals, have a great layout, strong composition, fonts that match, visual hierarchy, nice colors, all of those kinds of things make a design look good. But remember, it's not just looking good, it has to match the audience and stand out. So that looking good is great. You need to have that, but just looking good isn't all of it. Remember the whole thing, the who, the why, and the what. And this will really help. All right, so now you know basically this. We went through it really quickly. We could have broke it down even more, but I want to get into using it for practice. Let's take this idea of the who, the why, and the what, and see if we can use it for an example. So I already used Flying Research to do some research on this, and this is a trending thing, trending topic. You don't have to find a trending topic. Find something for your niche. It doesn't have to be a trending phrase. In this case, it is, but you can use the who, why, and what for anything. All right, so before we dive into the who, let me show you the research. My research found this trend right here. My wife is my favorite problem. There's not very many of them out there, so that's a good thing. If you're trying to break into a saturated market, that's going to be harder because there's going to be less choices for you to stand out, right? So this one's just starting off. Most of them only have text or some kind of, in this case, there's a circle with some fancy text, but there's not a lot of graphics. So it's really easy to think of something that's different because just adding a graphic would actually make it different. So first though, let's do the steps. Who is this for? So if we're answering all these questions, we can say this is for a husband who has a sense of humor. I'm going to guess someone a little older, maybe 35. He's going to 35 plus up into the older, maybe even 50 or older male. Definitely likes funny shirts, puns, dad jokes, that kind of thing. Loves his family and wants to make fun of his family, especially his wife at this point. Simple style, vintage, funny retro designs. And the joke in this case has to hit because this is why the person is going to buy it, right? It's this whole my wife is my favorite problem. It's a funny joke. Of course, we have to have a graphic that matches this if we want to stand out, that matches this phrase. All right, so before we get into the why, let's do a little bit more research and see what's out there already. So I found these that have graphics. I don't think our target audience actually would wear these kinds of things. I mean, there are great graphics and it does kind of tell the story. But when I did even more research on Amazon, if we're selling on Amazon, I would do more research on the place you're selling. So if you're selling on Etsy, do research on Etsy. If you're selling on Amazon, on Amazon. If you're selling on TeePublic, do that. That's what I would do. If you're selling on Shopify, you can kind of look just around everywhere and use that. Probably both Amazon and Etsy. But when I did my research on Amazon, this is what I found. This is what people in our audience is wearing. See all of these? It doesn't really match the one before, right? With the kind of graphics there. So I'm going to try and do graphics that kind of match this more retro, vintage, simple design styles, something like that. You'll see there in this one, there's not actually a wife in here. So I'm going to have to figure out how to do that. So that's going to be my challenge. So the next thing I'm going to do is the why. So going over the why again, we need our design to stand out. That's the why, the unique edge. Most of the ones, like we said, are text. We only need a graphic to stand out. It has to be a graphic that matches. Add a graphic that husbands will wear. That's why we did the research. And that tell the story and make the joke hit. So that's our challenge right there. Before I get into the what and start designing, I do some brainstorming ideas. So we're going to be brainstorming some ideas. How do we show a favorite problem? So here's 4 of them. You can do as many ideas as you want. But just to give you an idea of what brainstorming is. So first, have many problems and show a favorite one. That's one idea I could do as a graphic. Another idea is I could give an award to a wife as a favorite problem. Number 3, I could give a hug to a wife as an award for a favorite problem. Number 4, I could probably play around with the king and queen chess pieces and maybe do that as a favorite problem somehow. So what I ended up doing is actually picking number 2 and giving an award to a wife as a favorite problem. All right, so this is what I came up with. I'm not going to show you how I came up with this design or designed it. I did it in Kittl and used some AI to create this, but this has some strong fundamentals, design fundamentals, right? It's a great layout. It's a tall rectangle. Strong composition, it's filling the space, got some big and small things, fonts that match, visual hierarchy. In this case, my wife is my favorite and the problem is smaller, kind of harder to read. So it looks like my wife is my favorite, but then you'll notice is problem. So it looks like he's giving an award. So there's the joke right there. And that's the visual hierarchy too, like the bigger words. So, and the problem is intentionally smaller and a little harder to read. So people have to get a little closer to figure out what this means. Has some nice vintage colors that we saw before when we did our research. And I saw that there's a couple of them that used Bigfoot. So that's why I put Bigfoot in here, and that vintage distress that people like. So the very last thing that we're going to do is called the standout test. So let's go back and bring the things that we found when we originally did this and put our design with it. So you can see that our new design actually stands out from the other designs. It's very different. It's not just text. It has a graphic, so it definitely stands out. It has a vintage look, and it's the only one that doesn't have problem really big, right? It has problem kind of small, so it kind of changes it where it looks like my wife is my favorite, and the problem is intentionally smaller, so you have to come in and kind of get the joke that way. So very different, not only because of the graphics, but because of the way the text is working. So I think this works. There's multiple ways to do this. Obviously, there isn't only one way to do this, but this is the way I solved that problem. And this is how we do from who, why, and what. Now, hopefully this was really helpful for you. Make sure to follow these. This is exactly what we teach in the Shirt Heads community. I'll put a link in the description. We talk all about how to create designs that get more sales. And if you want to join us, there's a 7-day free trial. I'll put a link in the description. There's also a link in my bio that you can go there if you follow me on any of the social medias. It's a great time. Not only do we teach that, but we have fun with design challenges. We have a full tutorial in there and everything. So stop by. It doesn't cost you anything to give it a try for 7 days. Now, I hope this video is really helpful for you. You can try this out with any niche that you have. Thanks again for watching. And as always, keep creating and keep learning. I'll see you on the next one.